episode number 2 of our podcast, hoping to make AI a little bit more approachable and relevant to people who maybe aren't using it so much or kind of intimidated by it. Shawn and I are on this journey to learn about it and how we're going to incorporate it into our lives. And so we decided to make this podcast to take others on the journey with us, and maybe you'll find it helpful. So I wanted to talk in this episode a little bit about the different tools that are available and a little bit of specifics. You've heard of them, and this might be elementary for some people, but we're going to get into a little bit more detail because I think some people think that I hear a lot of people talking about how to use AI, and they're glossing over really some of the nitty-gritty that I think are leaving some people confused. So we will talk some about that. But Shawn had some things to say about, tell me what you wanted to say.
About our journey. Well, first, I would like to say that this is our journey. We are both learning about AI, but we're coming at it from very different points of view. You're coming at it from more of an interest standpoint, and I'm coming at it from more of a, well, I have to kind of standpoint.
Because I'm making you, or because
I mean, that's part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Because, you say that we want to share, we want to talk about our journey. And when you say that we decided, what you really mean is you decided, and we're both going along on that journey, which is, that's very cool. And I'm totally on board with that 100%.
In fairness, I did ask you. And you did agree.
You did. And I did agree, yes.
Okay.
And I agree that it's good. It's good to learn about this great new tool that we need to be using in order to be more successful.
In order to live an empowered life, live a life of choice, and live a life of intention, and achieve the things that we want to achieve,
Right.
And kind of maintain as much control as we can. Well, that's the word for me. Maintain as much control as we can.
100%. Totally agree with all of that. And, regardless of the debate about AI, is it good for us? Is it bad for us? It is a useful tool. It is something that we can use to help ourselves achieve more and do so more efficiently with less stress.
And it's also super frustrating not frustrating, frightening. Frightening is the word I wanted. It's frightening in many ways. Like I say often jokingly, but I'm really mostly serious, that the robot apocalypse is upon us. But
still, it's a useful tool.
Yes, but regardless of how we feel about it, it's here and it's not going away. So we might as well make the best of it.
Right. Yeah. And so I agree with that, but we're coming at it from different standpoints, from different points of view. And we also learn differently. I think everybody learns differently. And so, for example, for me, I'm not really an identity guy. I don't really want to be someone or something specific. I'm also not really process oriented when it comes to AI. So, we talk about atomic habits, the 3 modalities of motivation: identity, process, and goals. Goal oriented is what I am. So I want to achieve goals. And so when I'm learning about AI, I want to learn how it can help me achieve my goals. That's how I'm coming at it. And that might be different than how other people are approaching it. Other people who are process oriented really just want to learn about AI because it's an interesting tool. They want to learn everything about it. And so that's different than the standpoint from which I'm coming at it.
Well, yes, but I would say that's the same way that I'm coming at it, right? Like, how can we use it to achieve our goals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're pretty similar from that standpoint.
Okay.
But then still, there are differences. So, for example, when I'm thinking about AI, I want to know, what does the word intelligence and artificial intelligence mean exactly? So I want to go back to the nuts and bolts, the foundation of this thing, and kind of understand exactly what it is, because I think that might help me better understand how I can use it in my life. If I understand what the tool is, I'm better able to use that tool.
Okay. And so, say more about that.
say more about what the definition of intelligence and artificial intelligence? Okay, yeah, sure. So I Googled it, and Google's AI told me that intelligence and artificial intelligence basically just refers to human capabilities, human mental capabilities that computers are able to do.
Okay.
And to my understanding, I mean, that's what computers have done all along. You know, computers can add and subtract. They do things that people used to do.
Mhm.
And now it's like computers can add and subtract and develop correlations for us. And they can also write blog articles about that analysis. So they're just able to do more. AI is a better computer that we can use to do things that computers couldn't do for us before.
Okay. And yeah, I feel like I'm listening all AI all the time, reading, taking classes and listening to podcasts and other things. And there are a lot of people talking about what technically it is and what it isn't and what it can do and what it can't do. And there's a lot of great information out there about that. I'm not sure that I think what you just said is perfect and hopefully enough for most people to be like, all right, let's move on. But if you are super interested in kind of more details about that, that information does exist.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. And so you're coming at it from kind of a different standpoint. You have different questions and a different approach to learning about it than I do.
Yes. I just want to know, can it help me take less time to do the things that I want to do? Less time, less effort, so that I can do other things, right?
Yeah.
So
play pickleball.
Yes, play pickleball and just not just I don't know. I have a lot of interests that I feel like I don't pursue because
We're working.
we're working. Yeah, and um we're doing all the normal day-to-day stuff. But if I could make our job take less time, then we could pursue other things that add to our life. And also other things that interest us. We could spend more time with other people, which is becoming increasingly important because it's a thing that people are doing less and less of, which I feel sad about. But that's perhaps another episode.
That's another conversation.
That's another conversation.
That's a totally different topic.
And,
that's not AI.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I spend a lot of time talking to AI, which means if I'm talking to AI, maybe I'm definitely not talking to other people as much, at least about the same things, because now I find myself like bouncing ideas off of ChatGPT or off of Gemini instead of calling a friend and working through it with them. Now, I am a mastermind junkie, so I'm still all about like getting smart people together and having conversations in a social way. But sometimes I want to talk about something right now, and probably everybody I know who I would want to talk about it is like, doing other things. And so
it's right there all the time.
Exactly. And the other good thing about AI is that it can wear whatever hat I want it to wear.
Whatever hat you tell it to wear.
Well, yeah, be the expert in this or be the expert in that. And all right, so I said that I would provide a little bit more specifics. So we're going to get into in a minute, like the different tools and the different types of accounts. And I also created a table using Gemini that I will upload to the show notes. But I have both the ChatGPT app on my phone and I have the Gemini app on my phone. And they both have voice capability. I will say it's both awesome and frustrating because from one perspective, I can, like when I'm driving, I can talk and it will respond. And so it's like, just talking.
Talking to me in the car. You can talk to the AI the way you talk to me.
Right. Except that's kind of the good part when it works. The problem is you understand when I'm pausing to gather my thoughts and the AI does not.
Oh, it shuts off.
No, it jumps in and interrupts me. It's
Oh.
super frustrating. It's like the person who can't wait to hear themselves speak and they just jump in at any pause in the conversation. Even if I'm clearly, you'd think if AI was so smart, it would know when I am halfway through a sentence.
Right.
And wait, but it doesn't. And here's another super frustrating thing. I told Gemini, I think it was Gemini, or maybe it was ChatGPT. I said, I am gathering my thoughts as I speak. Please wait until I say, I'm done before you interrupt me. And I said, can you do that? It said, yes, no problem. I can do that. Go ahead and take your time, and I'll be here when you're ready. And sure enough, at the first pause in the conversation, it jumped in.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, and that's why I get back to let's define what intelligence is exactly. So we say that these computers can do things that humans can do. Well, what things exactly? How far does it go between the standard computer and the human brain? What are its capabilities? And in all fairness, some people have difficulty with pauses as well. So it's not necessarily just the AI.
Right. But you would think if it's so smart, like middle of a sentence, middle of a sentence means don't speak now. And it can't seem
It's not there yet.
figure that out, which was super frustrating. But then you would think it would be able to accept a simple command that said, wait until I say I'm done. Don't speak until I say I'm done. Could not do that.
Okay.
And then I said, so the first time it jumped in, I said, I didn't say I'm done. Is that not a command that you can understand? And it said, oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. I can do that. Go ahead. And so I started to speak again and it interrupted me again. And I said, but then I yelled at it. I was like, you until I said, I'm done. And then it said, oh, I seem to be having difficulty with that command. But then it said, how about if you say, and then it told me to say something different than I'm done, but basically the same thing. It told me to say, it was like, how about if you say end of sentence or something, or end of thought, or it gave me a different command. So I was like, okay, you don't understand I'm done, but you're going to understand this. And so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll say that instead. And so I started to talk and it didn't wait until I said it, interrupted me again. And so then I just shut it off and got super annoyed with it.
So there are some things that AI is great at and some things it's not so great at, and some things it's just completely awful.
Yes. And the problem is that when you're trying to do something, it appears to be great at parts of it and horrible at parts of it.
Yeah. And so that's an important part of understanding AI, knowing what it's good at, what it really can help you with.
Yes. And understand, and if somebody started to do this and then that happened, they'd get super frustrated and they would be like, this is dumb, I'm not using it anymore.
You got to persist.
So yes, figuring out how to persist. So that I find is a little challenging. But if you're not driving and you are typing, then it doesn't interrupt you, obviously, because you have to hit enter when you're typing. So that is a way to get around that. Or if you know all the things that you want to say, or if you are really good. So I speak professionally for a living. And so one of the things that you learn as a speaker is what some people call the power of the pause. And so when you're gathering your thoughts, speakers are taught, just pause. Don't throw in a bunch of filler words. But the AI needs you to throw in all the filler words. And so it's like, it's not compatible with a professional speaker, I guess, because it is contrary to the advice that we get when we're on stage. But if you can, my point in saying this is that when you're having a conversation with it, if you can keep speaking while you're thinking, then it won't jump in. It's when you pause that it thinks you're done, even if you're in the middle of a sentence, which is so stupid.
So you can just tell it, I'm thinking.
No, even when you say I'm thinking,
it's still,
it jumps in and answers whatever and just comments. It doesn't even need you to end with a question. if you just speak and say some thoughts, then it will jump in with comments about the thoughts, even if you didn't ask it a question, which again, in many ways is super annoying. However, in some cases has also produced some useful results for me.
And so I'm assuming that it interrupts you, it says something, but then you can carry on with that conversation and still get to the point that you wanted to make and ask the question that you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think
It's not like it completely disrupts the conversation.
well, I have to try. I think that you can interrupt it and it will stop talking. But at the same time, when it jumped in to comment on what I had said up until that point, I still wanted to know what it had said up until that point. But I think when you're using the voice control, it types in, so you're interacting with it verbally, but it's also typing your responses and its responses on the screen. So even if I interrupt it, I think this is true. Even if I interrupt it when it's speaking, what it was going to say out loud still appears in the conversation.
So you've not tried it outside of the car?
Not verbally, no.
Okay.
I do when I'm not in the car, I do it typing, so it's different.
Okay.
But I think that's true, that if you interrupt it, you'll still get the text of what it was saying.
Okay.
But it will stop talking. And you can jump in and be like, stop talking, I have more to say or something. And then it does that.
Right. So currently it's programmed to recognize a pause and then respond after the pause.
Yes, but that is frustrating. There should be like an end command that it does not seem to be able to follow.
Not yet.
No. All right. Well, there's our use case, our success case, and our fail case for this episode. But before we wrap up, I do want to just kind of give an overview. If you already have accounts at the major platforms, then you can stop listening to this episode right now. But if you don't, I will just share a little bit about the privacy of each one, what I learned. So there is ChatGPT, which is from OpenAI. It does have a free account, which limits which models you can have access to.
And by model, you mean brain.
Yes, it has different levels of brain.
Yeah. And
some of them are apparently more advanced than others, but I will tell you in day-to-day use, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. Although I will admit, I'm not sitting here going, what's the answer with ChatGPT 1? And what's the answer with O1? And what's the answer with O3?
Yeah, I've tried different ones.
What have you found out?
They're good at different things.
I've tried different tools, like Chat versus
that's
Gemini.
what I mean. Yeah.
I've tried Chat versus Gemini, for example, but I haven't tried the answer in O1 ChatGPT versus the answer in O3 ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Chat. So you can just go, and you don't even have to have an account. You can just go to chat.openai.com, I think is the URL, and just type in something. You don't need to sign in. So you could ask it a question. You could just interact with it that way. You also could, if you sign up for an account, it saves your history. So you can go back and look at what you talked about, which can be helpful.
Or embarrassing.
And there's also the paid account, which gives you different privacy features. I think even with the free account, you can tell it, don't use my chats to train the model. So
to train the brain.
Yeah. So what we'll do in the show note, and this isn't super complicated. If you go to the URL and then you sign in if you create an account, even in the free account, there's settings, and just go to the settings, which I think in ChatGPT is in the top right corner, and just read all the different settings. And if you don't understand them, you could ask ChatGPT, what does this mean?
Can I interject for just a second to make a point? So what we just said was essentially the model, the tool learns from us as well. So computers were programmed by people in the background, and then we use them. The computer was programmed by people in the background, but then we're also programming it too, just by using it.
Yes, so it takes all the usage data that
Mhm.
people are putting into it and it learns
Yeah.
from that,
Mhm.
which is both cool and again,
A little frightening.
frightening. Yeah. So there's ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, which is majority owned, I think, by Microsoft. I think it's majority owned by Microsoft. Then there is Gemini, which is Google's tool.
Mhm.
They appear to be a little less private than ChatGPT options. There's also there's a free tier and a paid tier, and also in Google, it's super confusing. Even Gemini itself could not tell me about about Google's AI plans,
Oh, okay.
which should tell you something.
Mhm.
But if you have a Google for Workspace account, then there's different packages versus if you just have like a Gmail address. But I do think that their first paid tier is the same as ChatGPT, which is about $20.
It's not really expensive.
No. And then Microsoft's tool, which is called GitHub Copilot, and I don't really understand what GitHub has to do with it, but being built into the Microsoft suite of tools. Like if you use Microsoft at work, then Copilot is in there, whether your company has rolled out the capabilities for you to use them or not, or to what degree is the question. And if you have an Office 365 personal account, probably Copilot is available as an add-on. And then I would say the other main tool is called Claude by Anthropic. And also they say that they are they use your chats to train the model. So what I did was I had this conversation with Gemini, and then I asked it to put all the information into a table. And the table was, let's see, what's the product? What's the kind of the general use for it, the general data privacy about it, and the lowest paid tier. So I will grab that table that it made for me out of my Gemini account, and I will put it in the show notes. And so you'll be able to go to the URL, which we will add later, and get the show notes for and find the table there.
So when you say these are the main tools, there are a lot of AI tools.
Oh
What
my
do you
God.
mean by main exactly?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
yeah. They're the general ones. A lot of the other
Okay.
tools are specialized.
Okay.
Um, like general AI, if you want to have different kinds of conversations and ask it different questions, but there are specific ones that are for video creation and audio creation and
Photos.
yeah, editing pictures and all kinds of specialized tools. There's another one called Perplexity that some people who are a little more fluent in AI, I think are using. I haven't tried Perplexity yet, but for just general, I want to go ask an AI. Like instead of doing a Google search for something, you might have a conversation with an AI about it. And those are and Microsoft really isn't even, I would say the places that people are going for that are ChatGPT and Gemini. And if you're going somewhere else, that's fine. Um, but at least let's just say those are the
tools
ones that I'm using.
Yeah, and that most people will be using.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. All right. Well, that's a wrap on episode number 2. I do have 2 requests for you though. Number 1 is if you have a fail story, like I tried it and it was horrendous and here's what happened, I would love to hear about it. If you have a success story, I would love to hear about it. And if you have a question that you want us to address in an upcoming episode, we want to hear about it. So send your stories or your questions to podcast@maurathomas.com.
Cool.
All right. Until next time.
I think I was the highlight in this one.
Yes. Yes, you were.
Feel good about it.
Okay, excellent.
Thanks for joining us on AI for an Empowered Life. Be sure to like and subscribe if you would like to know more about attention management, Maura's groundbreaking approach to reclaiming your time, focusing your energy, and living a more empowered life. You can also visit www.maurathomas.com, where you'll find tools and resources to help you make every moment matter and achieve more of your most significant results.